Okay. I cannot accurately explain that I was stuck in bed for like an hour. As my anxiety was kicking my ass and being like, yeah, for no reason in particular, you're gonna be laying here, uh, hyperventilating for an hour and be like, and then eventually I'm like, okay, I think it's past. I think I can get up. To the point that I'm like, okay, I'm up. I can move around. I could do that Fate stream I was planning on doing. I honestly do not know how long I will be streaming because I think I don't know if it'll kick back in. But hey, I'm here now. That's what matters. And okay. Hello and welcome to Fate Stay Night. Previously we left off that I had just summoned the Saber as our good old. Would we consider Emmy a work in progress himbo? Anyway, as our good old buddy, the delusional justice friend, just summoned the Saber. Hot. The back of my hand is burning. A strange pattern appears on the back of my left hand like a tattoo. What? Those are called man spells, Shiro. There. There are 3 spells which command a servant's obedience. They are a master's very life, so please use them carefully. On you? Shiro, please, heal me. Her tone is cold now. It seems she's not focused on me, but something elsewhere. Wait, are you asking me? Sorry, but I don't know how to use complicated magecraft like that, and you're already healed anyway. Saber frowns. I feel like I've said something that disappoints her. Then I shall face them as is. My regeneration has only repaired the superficial damage, but one more battle shouldn't affect me. One more battle? What do you mean? There are 2 enemies outside. From what I can sense, I'm sure I can defeat them in a few seconds. Saber leaps over the wall effortlessly. Just like Lancer, she makes it look easy. And now I'm just alone in the courtyard. Enemies? Outside? I realize what she means as soon as I say it. Wait, are you going to keep fighting? Move, thinking. I run as fast as I can toward the gate. I reach the gate, unlock it with trembling fingers and jump out. Saber, are you here? Strange to see in the darkness. Clouds have completely obscured the moon, leaving it pitch dark. Now, of all times. But I hear something nearby. There. I run to an empty pathway. It happens all in an instant. I see a familiar man in red and Saber fighting. Saber rushes him and breaks through his guard in a single sweep. He easily cuts at the man in red. Saber raises her arm, ready to... But before she's able to take his head, incredibly powerful magecraft causes him to vanish. Saber doesn't stop. She dashes right at the person. She dashes right at the person standing behind the man in red. And effortlessly negates the potent magecraft they've unleashed. What? I knew she was strong, but this is just unreal. That was the sort of intervention magecraft was beyond anything I'm capable of. My old man might have been able to cast something with a bit of weight to it. But I'm not sure even a first-rate mage could just cast something so powerful at the drop of a hat like that. Even so, the saber nullifies the magecraft, as if it were nothing. The enemy must be a mage, which means this match's outcome is decided. The mage's attack doesn't work on Saber, and Saber drives at them nervously. The mage falls backward with a thud. The enemy miraculously dodges Saber's attack, but they can't move anymore. Saber corners the enemy and levels her invisible sword at them. My mind freezes. Maybe it's a momentary glimmer of moonlight, but I see that Saber is attacking a human. I can tell who it is, specifically. But the image of Saber killing someone, their blood staining her hands, suddenly fills my mind. Saber moves in. She's going to slit open their throat with that invisible sword. Saber, stop! I scream as loud as I can. Her blade stops cold. It's probably best for my sanity that I can't see her sword. The tip of that invisible sword isn't wet with her opponent's blood just yet. Stop. I beg you, Saber. I glare at her as I speak. I'm going to stop her. I need to prepare myself to give everything I've got to do so. Why are you stopping me? Ishiro, she is Archer's master. I must put an end to her here and now. I like that Emiya just, like, I can't see Tosaka, but I'm just going to stop you anyway because I'm a dumbass. Luckily this saved someone's life, but it's important. But still. Ishiro, you dumbass. No. Saber has absolutely no intention of stopping. She only stopped because I told her to. But she still holds her sword at the ready. I'm telling you, wait. You keep calling me master, but I still don't understand what's going on. If you're going to address me that way, then wouldn't it be right to explain yourself first? Saber doesn't answer. She just stands there, staring at me. We're going about this wrong. Saber, I don't even know who you are. But I'll listen if you tell me, so please, don't do this. Saber is silent. She still holds her sword to her opponent and stares at me, her lips downturned in dissatisfaction. And what do you mean, don't do this? Is this an expression of your idealistic belief that people should not needlessly harm another? Eh? Don't needlessly harm another? Well, yeah. It's better to avoid conflict as much as possible, but I'm not so soft-hearted as to feel sorry for someone who's attacking me. So, you are saying that nobody should take the life of another, even should they be an enemy, correct? I will not obey such an order. One enemies must be defeated. If you wish to stop me, then use your command spell. Command spell to order me. Huh? I'm talking about you. A girl shouldn't go swinging swords around, especially if she's already hurt. Oh, wait. I don't even know if that's a sword to begin with. Anyway, you shouldn't be doing this. In that moment, Saber's mouth falls open in stunned silence. I don't know how much time passes with her just standing there like that. So, I'm wondering when Saber here is going to lower her sword. The person who falls to the ground speaks up out of nowhere. Saber instinctively grips her sword. Give it up. I would never lower my sword in the face of an enemy. Even though your master is telling you to? Is that so? I didn't know sabers. I mean servants. Especially sabers. And defied their masters. Saber grits her teeth. But she lowers her sword, loosening her grip a bit. She must have put her sword away or something, because she seems suddenly much less hostile. Okay, so I can stand up now, right? Whoever it was that spit on the ground finally stands. They act brazen as they pat the dirt from their bottom. Wait a minute. That's... You're Tosaka. Yeah, good evening, Emiya. Rin Tosaka replies with the biggest smile on her face. Huh. This is unbelievable. I don't know what to think anymore. The way she greets me so casually makes me question whether everything that happened was even real. Just like Rin. Rin. Please, Emiya, gears turn in that slow, denser than pudding head of yours. Let those gears turn. Well... So, you were the one who cast that magecraft earlier, which makes you... A mage. Well, we're pretty much the same, so I guess there's no sense hiding it anymore. Yeah. Hearing her be so blunt about it makes me seem like the idiot here. Anyway, let's talk inside. I bet you have no clue what's going on. Right, Emiya? As she says that, she walks towards the entrance to my house. Wait, Tosaka! What the hell are you thinking? At that moment, when Tosaka turns around, her smile has changed into something completely different. Don't be silly. I'm thinking about a lot of things, and that's why I'm offering to talk. Emiya, I know you're surprised by all the things that just happened. But sometimes you have to accept certain things, or you'll wind up dead. This, by the way, is one of those times. She glares at me, and I can see actual animosity in her eyes. Come on, you're supposed to be leaving those eyes for fucking Shinji. I'm glad you understand. Now, let's get inside. Tosaka walks through the gate. She seems really pissed. Well, I don't blame her. Just a moment ago, she had a sword pointing at her and she was about to die. But still. Maybe it's my imagination. But I think the Tosaka at school and the one I see right now are completely different people. Yeah, right. You're seeing Tosaka with two different frames of mind working. It kind of happens. Like, especially if your mentality is to be completely different when you're at work than when you're at home. You tend to have like a different frame set going on. This also happens when if you like learn a different language and you start speaking a different language, your brain will also kind of shift frames. It's not so much that you are a different person; it's just that you are taking on a different role using your brain. Yes. Yeah. And this is just weird as hell. Rin Tosaka, the most popular girl in school, the girl I admire, is walking in front of me. Uh, Amia. I'm cold. I am cold. Oh god. Let me gotta put a hoodie on. I'm cold. Where's the hoodie? Hoodie on. Cold. Cold. I love it. Okay. Well, a blonde girl named Saber, who calls herself a servant, is silently following behind me. Hmm. The hallway feels like it's in a different dimension. But I can't stay a coward forever. I may still be in training, but I'm still a mage. And Tosaka, who is apparently a fellow mage, is as bold as brass. So I have to hold my ground too, or else I'll look stupid. Though I can't really think of anything all that significant here. Like, Saber, still following me. She keeps calling me master, and we've formed some sort of contract, which probably makes her a kind of familiar. I've heard of familiar as an assistant mages uses. Most mages transfer part of their own body into something else, then use it as their double. But typically they're small animals. Things like cats and dogs. Just easier to control. Some mages do use humans, but to do that, you need an incredible amount of magical energy to constantly feed into the human to control them. Doing that would require a mage to use over half of their own magical energy just to sustain the familiar, though. So it's not exactly efficient. Familiars are supposed to be tools to help mages, which is why they usually use small animals who can be controlled with minimal effort, and so they aren't a burden. At least, that's what I was taught. Hmm? Is something the matter, Shiro? No, nothing. Saber obviously looks human, and she is clearly superior to her master, that is me. I don't have enough magical energy to restrain someone, let alone the magic circuits to control familiars in the first place. Which means Saber is nothing like a familiar. She called herself a servant. I don't know what she is, but that man named the Lancer, and the man in red Tosaka has in tow, are probably all the same. Which means Tosaka can also be called a master. I've already seen enough of her magecraft skills. I'm less than a fledgling, but based on what I've seen, Tosaka is probably worth 3 mages. So, there's really not much sense comparing any mage to someone like me, who can only do strengthening. What's clear is that Rin Tosaka is an exceptional mage. In spirituality, In spiritually strong lands, there are mage family lines which oversee a given area. The Emiya family came during Kiritsugo's generation, so our family is essentially outsiders. That's why I didn't know Tosaka came from a family of mages. And I don't think Tosaka knew I came from one either. There are several mages in this town I don't know about. If that Lancer guy is another mage is familiar too, that means I've gotten myself in the middle of some sort of a fight between mages. Wow, this place is roomier than expected. And the Japanese style of this room is unique. Oh, Emiya, is this a sitting room? I should really just stop thinking for now. I feel that sometimes. Yeah, I don't know how long this will work. I, in an effort to calm my nerves, I basically drank some my sleep mints. Did it work? Yes. Anyway, now's the time to pay attention to what Tosaka has to say. I turn on the lights. It's already past 1 in the morning. Whoa. It's so cold here. Hey, the windows are all broken. That's not my fault. That Lancer guy attacked me. I didn't really have time to worry about windows. I see. So, you were fighting that guy all by yourself until you summoned Saber? I'd say I was more of a punching bag than an opponent, really. Okay. Huh. So you don't try to act all tough, I see. So, you really are. Exactly as I thought. I don't know what's so amusing to her, but Tosaka walks over to the broken window. Hmm? Tosaka picks up a broken piece of glass. She stares at it for a second. She cuts her fingertip and lets a single drop of blood fall into the window. Yeah? What kind of magecraft is that? The shattered window begins to reassemble itself, returning to its original, undamaged state in mere seconds. Tosaka, what did you just do? Just a little demonstration. It's not really a fit thank you for saving me back there, but I figured I should at least be gracious. Well, I'm sure you would have fixed it without my help, since doing it this way is just a waste of magical energy. I know you could have just replaced the windows, but I'd rather not talk in the cold. She says all this like it's a normal thing. Her skills are just beyond my comprehension. That's amazing, Tosaka. I can't do anything like that, so I appreciate you fixing it. What? You can't do this? No. That can't be right. Handling glass is one of the most basic skills. Fixing broken glass is like an entrance exam for any school. Is it? No? I only know what my old man taught me, So I don't really know what you'd consider the basics. Tosaka stops abruptly. Crap, sounds like I said something I shouldn't have. Wait a minute. Are you telling me you're not even a full-fledged mage with his own workshop to manage? Huh? I don't have a workshop. Well, actually, I have the shed I use for training, but I think calling that a workshop would just make Tosaka angrier. Wait, don't tell me. Do you not know how to handle the 5 grade elements or make a magical path? I just nod. Whoa, that's terrifying. Beautiful as she is, she gets intense when she goes quiet. So you're what? A complete amateur? Not exactly, no. I can at least do some strengthening in Magecraft. Strengthen? Kind of a useless skill if you ask me. So you don't know anything else? Osaka just stares at me. Honestly, probably not. Her stare is so intense, I can't help but be vague in my answer. I just don't get how the likes of him wound up summoning Saber. He sighs, disappointed. Huh. Not much care for that. It's not like I've been playing around here. Sure, I'm not a full-fledged mage, but that's not the issue here. Fine. What's done is done, so there's no sense complaining now. More importantly, I owe you and need to pay you back. Tosaka takes a breath. So let's begin. Let me start by asking, do you really not know anything about the position you're in here? I nod. I knew it. It was pretty obvious, but I just wanted to check. It would be a waste of time if I explained all this to someone who knew everything, like a bit of extra mental flab. That was a really weird way to put that, but I feel like if I get smart with her, she'll smack me. Well, at least he's got some good instincts when women will hit him. I'm pretty sure that's all entirely due to Taiga. Let me get straight to the point. Emiya, you've been selected as a master. Yay, we get written exposition. Anyway. You see those sacred marks on your hand? They vary from person to person, but they're typically on the back of your hand or arm. And there should be 3 strokes of command spells engraved there. They're the mark that proves you are a master. Back of my hand. Oh, you mean this? Right. Take good care of it. Since those are spells that control servants, they're called command spells. And as long as you have them, you can give orders to your servant. What do you mean, as long as I have them? Command spells are absolute orders. You might have already figured out that servants have free will, but those engravings in your hand overrule their will and force them to obey. There's no need to chant any kind of incantation. They activate when you think about using them. But Each time you use one, you'll lose a stroke. So try to keep yourself to only using 2. Anyway, just be careful. I'm pretty sure you'll die the moment you run out of command spells. Yeah, I'm going to die. I mean, I feel like one of the biggest dangers is that if you lost all your command spells, you could just get fucking axed by your servant. And you kind of do need the last command spell for a thing. Anyway, yeah, Masters defeating Masters is pretty much how a Holy Grail War goes. And the Master who defeats the other 6 is rewarded with the Holy Grail. But, hold on a second. I don't understand what the hell Tosaka is saying. Masters defeating Masters. And then they're granted Holy Grail. And is the Holy Grail the Holy Grail? I don't get it. Look, you've basically been dragged into a game. It's called the Holy Grail War, and it's a battle between 7 masters. It's a fight between mages that won't end until only one master remains. Osaka talks about this like it's the most normal thing in the world. Hold. Everything she says swirls around in my head. I was chosen as a master. Osaka claims to be a master. Familiars called servants. And, in Holy Grail War, a battle to the death between 7 mages. Okay, wait. What the hell are you talking about? I understand your confusion, but I'm only telling you the truth here. And I'm sure you understand deep down that you're in no position to run away from all this since you've nearly been killed by a servant, not once, but twice. True, that Lancer guy did nearly kill me. Oh, right. You weren't almost killed. You were killed. I'm impressed you managed to come back from that. Osaka's comment is the final nail in the coffin. He's absolutely right. That guy killed me. I died. There's no chance for me to talk him out of it, nor convince him otherwise. I was only there to die. That's why me backing out of this incomprehensible deathmatch doesn't mean the others will do the same. Get it? Okay, I'm going to tell you a bit more. I don't know why there's a Holy Grail War in the first place. But what I do know is that every few decades, 7 masters are selected and they are given servants. I'm also one of the chosen masters. That's why I formed a contract with a servant. And you formed one with Saber. Think of the servant as a familiar given to you by the Holy Grail to use to win the Holy Grail War. And as masters, we need to work with our servants to get rid of the other masters. Osaka explains things matter-of-factly, and it feels totally unreal to me. I mean, look, Chiados. Everything after dying earlier today is going to feel like, what the fuck is going on, man? But one thing she mentioned raises the question. Wait, You say Saber is a familiar, but I don't think she is. Familiars are usually cats or birds. Sure, there are some folks who use ghosts, but Saber has a physical body, plus she doesn't look like a familiar to me. I glance over at Saber. She's been quiet the whole time. I don't know why. I'm looking at Saber. I'm just thinking about Saber just being in the corner, just stone faced over there in the corner, absolutely fucking not moving at all. And then her little hair, a hoge, and it's just like, oh god, what the fuck are you doing? Saber looks completely human to me. I don't know who she is, but she looks to be a girl about the same age as me. Familiar. Well, the servants might be in that category, but they're on a different level. See, that girl over there is a ghost liner, considered to be one of the strongest of all familiars. The ghost liner. So does that mean she really is a ghost? The spirit of a human? Someone who died long ago. The residual thoughts of a person of exceptional ability who remains in this world even after their death. But that doesn't make sense. Ghosts don't possess a physical body, and ghosts can only hurt other ghosts. So how could I, who possesses a body, be killed by a spirit? A ghost. Well, they are similar, but Saber will kill you if you keep thinking like that. The servants are incarnated heroes of the past, so they're a kind of spirit well beyond humans. Huh? Incarnated heroes? Of the past. That's right. Whether they're from history or the modern world, these spirits of dead legendary heroes are summoned and materialize here. Well, the role of the master is just to summon them, and the Holy Grail is what helps them with the materialization. There's no way. There's no way a mere mage could give spirits form. So we need to rely on a powerful artifact. Wait a minute. Are you saying that a hero from the past is... What? Oh, look at Saber. So she's a hero of the past too? Staring there. The fucking stub-ass Ahoge. It's adorable. Don't get me wrong. But this woman could break my windpipe with her stupid little cute ass. What the fuck are those glove bits? But that's impossible. I've never heard of magecraft like that. Of course not. This isn't magecraft. Just think of this as a phenomenon brought about by the Holy Grail. Otherwise, there's no way a soul could be recreated and actualized. Recreation of a soul. Does that mean these servants are different than phantoms? Nope. Once something, whether that be humans, an animal, or even machinery, achieves something great, they are removed from the cycle of reincarnation and sublimated into something with a higher rank. Didn't you even learn about that? That's what heroic spirits are. Put another way, they're kind of like pseudo-gods who are worshipped in some way or another. Seances, mediums, another common magecraft that deals with spirits, just borrows some of the spirit's powers to perform miracles. But servants are heroic spirits themselves, used as familiars. That's why they typically accompany you in spirit form, but materialize when it's time to fight if they're needed. So they can switch between spirit form and being corporeal? I don't see your servant right now, so does that mean he's in spirit form right now? Nah, he's healing his wound in my compound summoning circle right now. Remember? Saber wounded him earlier. If I'd made him withdraw even a heartbeat later, that blow would have annihilated him. Listen, only servants in spirit form can defeat other servants in spirit form. We can attack them when they're materialized, so we might be able to defeat them like that. But you've noticed, all the servants are monstrously strong, right? That's why we should leave the monsters to deal with the monsters while masters hang back and serve as support. Osaka's explanation ticks me off. Yeah, I knew Emio would be annoyed about the sentence. I don't know what the other servants are like, but calling servants monsters doesn't feel like a fair description of Saber. Anyway, humans who become masters use their summoned servant to defeat the other masters. Did you at least get that much? In theory, yeah, but I'm still not convinced. First of all, what kind of sick mind thought to do this in the first place? That, I don't know. Nor could I answer even if I did. That sort of question should go to the person overseeing the Holy Grail War. The only thing I can tell you is that you really don't have any choice but to fight and to use your servant well, because they're powerful. As Tosaka says that, she turns to Saber. Saber, after talking to Emiya, it looks like you're not in your complete form. You're incomplete since you are summoned by an apprentice mage who has no idea what it means to be a master. Yes, you are correct that I'm not in my complete form. Shiro does not have enough magical energy to fully materialize me, which means reverting to spirit form and replenishing magical energy are difficult. I'm surprised. Your situation's worse than I expected, and I didn't think you'd be so honest with me about it. I was actually just kind of subtly trying to find out your weakness. I am reluctant to reveal my weakness to an enemy. But I also do not think I can deceive you. There's no point in hiding our situation from you. As such, we are better off if you know our circumstances and give Shiro a better understanding of the situation. Exactly. How very insightful of you. I still can't believe it. If only I was Saber's master, I would have as good as won this thing. Tosaka, are you saying I'm not fit to be her master? Obviously not, you freaking sham. Whoa, anyone with a heart might have softened that blow a bit. What? You have more questions? But she doesn't realize how hurtful her words are. My image of her as the perfect honor student at school slowly crumbles. Yeah, don't worry, Emiya. She's just doing that thing that women do, where they kind of have a way with words that will just like slide a dagger in your ribs. Without even intending to. Don't take it personally. Issei sure was right about her. She's fiendishly relentless. Okay. Now that we're at a good spot, let's get going. Osaka announces this curtly, but it's kinda weird. What? Go where? I told you. We're going to see the guy who knows all about the game. The Holy Grail War you got roped into. You want to know why it happens, right? Yeah, of course, but where are we going? It's already late, and it's too far. It's fine. He's just in the next town over. And we can get back home before dawn. Plus, tomorrow's Sunday. So it doesn't matter if we're up late. That's not the issue here. So much has happened today, and I'm utterly exhausted. Just want to rest and organize my thoughts. You can rest when you're dead. What? You don't want to go? Fine by me, but what about you, Saber? For some reason, Tosaka's asking for Saber's opinion. Wait, Saber's got nothing to do with this? Don't push her. Oh, already acting like a master, are we? You don't like me talking to Saber? That's not it. She said, if everything you said about this whole thing is true, that would mean Saber's a hero from the past. That means she wouldn't know anything about the modern era? That's why... Shiro. You are incorrect. Servants can adapt to any time as long as they are summoned in a human world, so I am very aware of this age. Eh? You are? Really? Of course. It's not the first time I have been summoned to this age. Just get rid of the... There we go. You are so fucked if you just see two women staring at you like this. You are like, oh god, I'm an idiot. I've said something real dumb. Seriously? What are the odds? Oh hey, Osaka's surprised too. That must mean what Saber said is at least somewhat unusual. Shiro. I agree with her. You lack knowledge as a master. As your contracted servant, I would prefer that you be stronger. Saber silently stares at me. Stare. The look on her face tells me she's saying this for my sake, not for her own safety. Fine. I guess I have to go, don't I? So where is this place? Osaka. We can still get back here from there, right? Of course we can. Our destination is Kotomine Church. And just in the next town. That's where that sham priest, the one who oversees the whole battle, lives. Osaka flashes a mischievous grin. It's the look of someone who's enjoying teasing me, since I have no clue what's going on. At least, that's what I think. I'm starting to believe Tosaka has a really nasty side. We walk through town at night. It's 1 in the morning, and there is nobody out at this hour. The houses are dark, and the sleepy town is cast only in the streetlight's pale glow. Hey, Tosaka, are you planning on walking to the next town? Of course. The trains and buses aren't running right now. Sometimes at nighttime, strolls, kinda nice. I too like my enthusiastic walks. Okay, but I just want to make sure. Do you know how long that walk will take? Yeah, but no, no, right? If it gets too late, we can just grab a taxi on our way back. I don't have that kind of money. And my point is more about whether it's safe for a girl to walk around at this hour. You know, it's been dangerous recently. I don't want to be responsible if something happens to you. Look, his heart's in the right place, guys. And to be fair, Emiya, you're walking with a person that you literally called not even like half an hour ago worth 3 mages. So this woman is basically a walking, talking gun, even though you don't know why. And you're like, oh no. Woman danger. Dark. Must protect. Oh. Now that she mentions it, if anyone picks a fight with Saber, they're dead for sure. You just put a raincoat on you? Rin, what did Shiro mean by what he said earlier? I did not quite understand. He, really misunderstood the situation. Also, he's an idiot. He was trying to say he'd swoop in to our rescue if someone assaulted us. That cannot be right. Hiro's my master. Our rules would be reversed if he did that. Well, Shiro, how did I say this? Osaka's got you pegged. Wait, not like... You know what? Yeah, sure, like that. Yeah, he's probably not thinking about anything like that. Like, he doesn't care what mages and servants are. Honestly, I like to see what's going on in his head. Osaka and Saber seem to be on good enough terms to chat now. Saber's been quiet ever since I stopped her from leaving the house as she was. She flatly refused to take off her armor, so I made her wear a raincoat. And she's been quiet ever since. Now she's just following me and only speaks to Tosaka. Emiya, you have negative riz to Saber. Huh? Where are you going? Emiya, that's the wrong way. We need to go to the bridge, right? Shortcut. I feel a little awkward walking right beside her, so I walk a little faster and took the side path. We enter a park along the riverside. All we need to do is cross the bridge to reach Shinto.
へえ、こんな道あったんだ。そっか。橋には公園からでも行けるんだから、公園を目指せばいいのね。
I didn't know there was a path here. I see. We just need to head to the park since the bridge is accessible from the park too. I'm reminded that, like, okay, so there's this big old fuck all park nearby, and you take like one path into it and you're just like, oh, a civilization is gone, and there's probably some weird ass paths that goes up and down, and then suddenly there's a freeway. And then you're back in the forest again. And then you're like, man, I really hope I just don't suddenly see a homeless person shitting their brains out. Again. Maybe it's the park at night. Tosaka. As she stands there, staring up at the bridge. That looks prettier than when I see her at school. This isn't good. Let's just go. We didn't come here to goof off. I remind Tosaka to hurry, and start climbing the stairs. Once we reach the road at the side of the bridge, it's just a straight shot to Shinto. I am curious, though, that did any of my choices prior to us getting Saber matter with our path choices? Or does only, like, what choices matter for what endings? I don't know yet. I will still pick all the choices and go through them all individually, kind of like what I do with the RPG Maker games and what have you. But I'm just thinking out loud right now. There is nobody on the bridge. Not surprising, since this bridge isn't exactly busy, even during the day. People tend to take the bus or train to get to the next town, so the pedestrian bridge doesn't see much use. It's a pretty good distance, and the bridge itself seems a little unsteady, so people might worry it could collapse at any time. Probably why this isn't a very popular spot for dates, even though the location and ambiance are perfect. Stop reading my mind, woman. Stop it. Stop. What's in your head? Ashiro, stop thinking about such stupid crap. Saber follows silently while Rin walks beside me. I hurry across the bridge, as fast as I can, and try not to think too much about the two girls with me. I'm trying to think of whether that was Rin or Saber that said that line. I'm going to imagine it's Saber because they said Shiro and not Emiya. And Saber's English. Once we cross the bridge, Osaka leads us to the suburbs. The office buildings near the station only comes to mind when I think of Shinto, but there's still a traditional townscape on the outskirts. The suburbs are especially prominent in that sense. There are gentle slopes on a hill that overlooks the ocean. The further up the hill you go, the fewer buildings there are. And there's even a foreigner cemetery built along the hillside. The church is up at the top of the hill. Have you never been? Nope, never. Though I do know it used to be an orphanage. I see. If this is your first time, you might want to brace yourself. The church's priest isn't exactly the easiest man to deal with. She can say that like 5 more times. I look up and see a shadow that must be a building on top of the hill. A church, atop a hill. I never imagined a circumstance like this is what would bring me to God's house. Whoa, this is amazing. The church is magnificent. The whole hilltop seems to be a church grounds, and I'm greeted by a huge open space the moment I reach the top of the hill. I will note that most churches I have been to are very much less than this. Like, this is even more extravagant than any church I've been to. Most of the churches I have ever been to were just like little shanty buildings that just kind of were there, right? It just was a couple of well-meaning Christians doing their best, right? And a pastor and stuff, doing what they could. I do specifically remember one of the churches I went to for like Sunday school. It was like across the street from the apartment I lived in as a kid. And I got to see it get torn down and replaced by an elementary as I grew up. So, yeah, churches. The church at the other side of the vast open space isn't all that big, but it seems to loom over everything, intimidating any visitors. Now I'm also reminded that the other side of that area where the school was, um, one of my cats had died, and I had buried the body pretty deep over on the other side of the street. And then now, over where I buried the old sweet widow, um, is now a Walmart parking lot and a Walmart. So, widow, buddy, if you're still down there, you're underneath concrete in a asphalt parking lot. Rest in peace, little buddy. Because I didn't really have any ways to like afford pet cemeteries and stuff like that. Oh, anyway, back to churches. Churches. The church at the other side of the vast open space isn't all that big, but it seems to loom over everything, intimidating any visitors. Better than any church I've been to.
シロ、私はここに残ります。
Shiro, I will stay behind. Eh? Why? We came all this way. I can't just leave you here.
私は教会に来たのではなく、シロを守るためについてきたのです。シロの目的地が教会であるのなら、これ以上遠くには行かないでしょう。ですから、ここで帰りを待つことにします。
I would also like to note to Shiro that Seba should not walk into the church and be seen by all the other masters. This is kind of like that idea of like you hide what your characters you selected in a hero fighter sort of thing. Anyway, my purpose was not to visit this church, but to protect you along the way. If your destination is the church, then you will not stray far from it, so I will wait here for you to return. Saber is frank in her response. I can't see her budging at this point, so I decided to respect her decision. Alright, then I'll be back. Yes. And do not let your guard down, no matter who you are dealing with, Master. I should remember to take more of like a monotone voice whenever I read Saber's lines. The chapel is large and majestic. I see that many visitors during the day. It must be many visitors during the day, based on the number of pews in the chapel. That's kind of not true, really. It just kind of actually depends on how old the church is. Like, I've been to a church that had pews that was kind of better, but it was also not, like, as pretty as this. At least where I live now, if I look up, because I'm in, like, an old, place that's, like, considered a historical building, so they can't, like, update it. At least they haven't destroyed the crown molding in this room. At the zero, I shall be back momentarily. I'm trying to think how much longer my energy's gonna be able to go. How long have I been going? Oh well. Let's do a little bit more. I'll like try to finish up the church part. The priest must have incredible authority if he's responsible for a church as grand as this one. Tosaka, what kind of man is the priest here?
どんな人かって説明するのは難しいわね。10年来の知人だけど、私だって未だにあいつの性格はつかめないもの。
It's kind of hard to explain. I've known him for over a decade now, but I still can't figure him out. Known him for over a decade? That's a long time to know someone. Are you two related or something?
親戚じゃないけど、私の後見人よ。ついでに言うと、兄弟子にして第二の師っていうところ。
No, but he's my guardian. On top of that, as a disciple, he's my senior. And my second mentor. What kind of disciple do they mean? Does she mean? Does she mean like disciple of like a disciple of Christ, or like a disciple of magic? I'm gonna assume magic. Random Christian lore. A Christian is a derogatory term that was just kind of accepted as like the thing. It was like basically a joke to call you like a little mini Christ type thing, when actually all of Christians are supposed to be disciples of Jesus Christ, kind of thing. So technically, Christians are just disciples of Jesus, and the term Christian was just to be like, oh, you are a little tiny Christ. Anyway, I'm digressing. A senior disciple as a mage? Oh. Yeah, why is that such a surprise? The priest, right? Aren't priests forbidden from using magecraft? Mages and churches have never mixed well. Mages belong to a large organization called the Mages Association. But there's also a hidden group operating in the shadow of the most widespread religion. No one normal people would ever hear about or want to get involved with, known as the Holy Church. Of fucking course. The two have nothing in common. They may have a sort of surface alliance, but they're constantly trying to kill each other, given half a chance. The church loathes heretics. They're out to eliminate anything inhuman in the world, including users of magecraft. In the church's eyes, only saints are performed to perform miracles. All other human miracles are heresy. Saints. They're usually kind of dictated as saints after, usually called a saint post-mortem. There are no exceptions, even for those within the church. The higher the position one is within the church, the more they are forbidden from the impurity of magecraft. It goes without saying that the more blessings someone receives from God, especially someone who is in charge of a church like this, the further the distance they should take from magecraft. Actually, I didn't know the priest here was on our side. Yep. He's the one supervising the Holy Grail War, so he's definitely an agent. Well, whether he's ever actually received any blessings from God is an open question. Osaka's footsteps echo as she walks toward the altar. I'm not sure whether you're supposed to be walking around here without a priest, but it is pretty late. The priest wouldn't be in the chapel at this hour. I guess he'd be in his private room out back. Well, so what's the priest's name? I think he said Kotomine or something earlier. His name is Kirei Kotomine. He's my father's disciple. And unfortunately, I've known him for over 10 years. If I had any choice, I'd rather not have ever met him. I assure you, the feeling is mutual. I never wish for a pupil who refuses to respect her mentor. Tap tap, I hear footsteps. A man slowly emerges from the far side of the altar. He must have noticed when we entered the chapel. I have been calling you, Rin. But you haven't answered. And now you bring me a strange guest. So he's the 7th, Rin. Right. He's a mage. Apparently. But he's a complete amateur. It's frustrating as hell. And the rules say to report here when someone becomes a master, right? It's a stupid rule your group made up, but I figured I'd follow it this time. Oh, commendable of you. Well then, I must thank this young man. Priest slowly looks me over. I unconsciously step back. I'm not afraid, and I don't sense any hostility from this priest. But the way he carries himself, he just gives off this indescribable aura of intimidation. Yeah, no, Shiro, the stepping back was the absolute correct thing you should do whenever you run into fucking Kirei. My name is Kirei Kotomine, and I have been entrusted to run this church. What is your name, 7th Master? It's Shiro Emiya, but I don't remember signing up to be a master. I brace myself, glaring at the priest so as not to buckle under that intimidating presence. Shiro Emiya. Huh? That intimidating aura grows chilly. The priest smiles, as if pleased. With that smile of his, I can't explain it. It makes me... I must thank you, Emiya. You brought Rin here. If it wasn't for you, she would have never set foot in this church. The priest makes his way to the altar. Tosaka, on the other hand, just looks bored as she moves away from the altar and comes to stand next to me. Then let us begin. Shiro Emiya, you are Saber's master, correct? That's not entirely true. I did form a contract with Saber, but I have no idea what the hell masters in Holy Grail Wars are. If proper mages are the only ones who can be masters, then you should pick a different master. I see. This is a pity. Does he really know nothing, Rin? I told you, he's a complete novice. You'll need to teach him from the ground up. You're good at pushing people like that, aren't you? Looks like it practically pawns me off on the priest. Still looking bored. Oh, I see. So that's your plan. Very well. This is the first time you have depended on me for anything. It seems I cannot thank Shiro Emiya enough for bringing me this opportunity. The more I hear him talk, the more uneasy I get. First, let me address some of your misconceptions. Listen to me. Shiro Emiya, the role of a master isn't something you can simply pass on to someone else, nor is it something that, after you have been chosen, you can simply quit. Once command spells are engraved on one's hand, there is no means by which they can resign from being a master, regardless of who they might be. I can't quit. Why not? Command spells are sacred marks. They're a trial placed upon masters. You can't simply forfeit because it's inconvenient. You will not be released from its pain unless the Holy Grail is obtained. If you want to resign from being a master, the only thing you can do is obtain the Holy Grail and have your wish granted. Or do this, and everything can go back to normal for you. Shiro Emiya. Anything you desire, even ridding yourself of the impure mud within you, is possible. Why? Even starting over entirely is possible. And so, you should desire it. Should the time come, you will be grateful for your luck in being chosen as a master. If you wish to be rid of those unseen burn marks you have, you simply have to accept that sacred mark. What? I feel faint. The priest's words don't make any sense. The more I listen, the more I'm confused. Shiro, you just got put into literally a battle royale of the fucking Holy Grail. This is why you should have played video games. Yes, his words permeate in my mind, staining me like blood. Rin is like, oh, he's up to some shit. Here, don't be so obtuse. I just asked you to explain the rules to him. I never asked you to open up old wounds. Her voice interrupts the priest's words. It's Tosaka. My confused mind snaps back. Oh, I believed nothing else would sink in for someone like him. So, I thought I would at least break down his morality while he was still confused. Oh well, I suppose kindness isn't always entirely for the benefit of the recipient. I must admit, I did enjoy that quite a lot.
何よ、彼を助けるといいことあるっていうのあんたに。
What? Does helping him do you any good?
あるとも。人を助けるということはいずれ自身を救うということだからな。と、今さらお前に解いても始まるまい。
Of course, helping people means saving yourself in the end. I suppose there's not much sense in me lecturing you about that, though.
では本題に戻ろうか。エミヤシロ。
Let me return to the matter at hand. Shiro Emiya.
君が巻き込まれたこの戦いは聖杯戦争と呼ばれるものだ。
You find yourself involved in what is known as the Holy Grail War.
7人のマスターが7人のサーバントを用いて繰り広げる争奪戦ということぐらいはリンから聞いているか。
It is a battle waged using 7 servants, commanded by 7 masters. I hope Rin would have at least told you that. Yeah, she did. She told me about the whole ridiculous thing, where 7 masters participate in a battle to the death.
そうだ。だが我らとて好きでこのような非道を行っているわけではない。
Correct, but we are not indulging in cruelty for entertainment.
すべてが聖杯を得るにふさわしいものを選抜するための儀式だ。
It is a ritual to determine who is worthy of attaining the Holy Grail.
何しろ物が物だからな。所有者の選定にはいくつかの試練が必要だ。
For such a powerful item as that. Can I accidentally inhaled my own spit? Rigorous trials must be conducted to determine who should possess it. The hell with trials. I bet this priest doesn't think of the Holy Grail War as a trial at all. Ow. Yes, humans, top of the food chain. All its own spit. Wait, you keep saying Holy Grail. What even is that? You don't mean the actual Holy Grail, right? The Holy Grail, a goblet said to have received the blood of a saint, is considered to be one of the greatest sacred relics of all time, and it is said to perform a variety of miracles. One of the most widely held beliefs is that whoever holds the Holy Grail can possess the entire world. But that seems kind of unlikely, since the Holy Grail itself probably doesn't even exist. Stories of Holy Grail that can grant any wish appear in numerous myths and legends around the world. And this also reminds me that the Spear of Longinus, the spear that it was apparently supposed to have stabbed Jesus, many churches claim to have it. When really, it was probably done, happened, and then probably forgotten about. But that's about it. Mythical power that none claim has ever actually existed or been replicated. That is the Holy Grail. So, what is it, Hideko Tomine? Is the Holy Grail you speak of really the Holy Grail?
もちろんだとも。この町に現れる聖杯は本物だ。その証拠の一つとして、サーバントなどという法外な奇跡が起きているだろう。
Of course it is. The Holy Grail that appears in this town is real. If you want proof, the appearance of the servants themselves is a miracle. Isn't it?
過去の英霊を呼び出し刺激する。いいな。すでに死者の蘇生に近いこの奇跡は魔法と言える。
Summoning heroic spirits from the past and utilizing them. It is a miracle close enough to the resurrection of the dead that it could be considered magic.
これだけの力を持つ聖杯ならば、持ち主に無限の力を与えよう。物の心眼など、その事実の前には無価値だ。
A holy grail of such power must in turn grant its owner limitless power. When considering the truth of how powerful it is, its authenticity hardly matters. So what he's saying is that as long as the object possesses power that surpasses the real thing, it doesn't matter whether it's real or fake. Fine. Let's assume it's really a Holy Grail. Then why would something like the Holy Grail War need to happen? If the Holy Grail exists, we shouldn't be killing each other over it. Something so amazing should be shared. A reasonable opinion. However, not an option we have the luxury of. Only one can obtain the Holy Grail. We cannot ourselves choose who, that is, for the Grail to decide. The selection of 7 masters and the summoning of 7 servants are all determined by the Holy Grail itself. I mentioned that this was a ritual. The Holy Grail selects those who are worthy of possessing it, and then each against the other to select the Soul Bearer. That is what a Holy Grail War is. A sort of necromantic dual ritual, where those chosen by the Holy Grail fight to the death to obtain it. No matter of fact about it all. I have no response, so I just stare at my left hand. There's an inscription on my hand. A mark these two call a command spell. As long as I have this mark, I'm told I can't quit being a master. That still doesn't make any sense. Just because only one person can be selected, there's no reason for all the other masters to die. Wait a minute, you don't actually have to kill them. Emiya, the ritual doesn't require you to kill the masters. Huh? But you said it's a battle to the death. Even Kotomine said that. You do kill each other. Shush. Okay. So, the Holy Grail here is in spirit form. It's not tangible as an object. It needs to be summoned in a special ritual, kind of like a seance. So, summoning it can be done just by us mages, but as long as it's in spirit form, we can't touch it. Do you understand what that means? I do. Only spirit forms can touch other spirit forms. Oh, so that's why you need servants. Exactly. To put it in simple terms, the goal in the Holy Grail War is for you to eliminate all the servants other than your own. There's no rule that you have to kill masters. Why didn't they tell me that earlier? Honestly, Tosaka and the priest both are pretty wicked. But that's a relief. Yeah, Kitty's like, you do kill each other. And now he's just like, God damn it, Reed, you put it away. You should have kept torturing him. It means Tosaka won't have to die. Even if I do join the Holy Grail War. I suppose that is one way to look at it. Then, let me ask you, Shiro Emiya, do you think you can beat your own servant? You defeat Saber? Of course not. Besides, Magecraft is useless against her, and she's insanely strong with her sword.
君は自分がサーバントより優れていると思えるか？
Then, one more question for you, though it may be a trifling one. Do you think yourself superior to your servant? What? Why the hell is he asking this? I can't be Saber, so there's no way I'm better than her. The answer to both these questions is that I'm weaker than my servant. Oh.
そういうことだ。サーバントはサーバントをもってしても破りがたい。ならばどうするか。
Now you get it. Servants have enough trouble defeating other servants. So what could you do?
そら、実に単純な話だろう。サーバントはマスターがいなければ存在できぬ。いかにサーバントが強力であろうと、マスターが潰されれば、そのサーバントも消滅する。
It's simple. Really. A servant cannot exist without their master. No matter how powerful the servant, they will disappear once the master is killed, which means... Now I get it. Nobody would make things harder for themselves. If someone wanted to make sure they won, killing the master would be the much easier path. Yeah, I get it now. It's easier to defeat the master than the servant. Let me ask you this then. If the servant is defeated first, is their master no longer a master? If servants are the only ones who can touch the Holy Grail, then a master who lost their servant becomes obsolete, right?
いや、霊樹がある限りマスターの権利は残る。マスターとはサーバントと契約できる魔術師のことだ。霊樹があるうちはいくらでもサーバントと契約できる。
No. As long as the command spell remains, they still have the right to remain a master. A master is simply a mage who can make a contract with a servant. As long as they have a command spell, they can form contracts with as many servants as they want.
マスターを失ったサーバントはすぐに消えるわけではない。彼らは体内の魔力が尽きるまでは現世にとどまれる。そういったマスターを失ったサーバントがいれば、サーバントを失ったマスターとて再契約が可能となる。戦線復帰ができるというわけだ。
A servant who loses their master does not disappear immediately. They can remain in this world until they run out of magical energy. The servants who lose their masters, and masters who lose their servants, can forge a new contract together and return to the battle.
だからこそ、マスターはマスターを殺すのだ。下手に生かしておけば、新たな障害になる可能性があるからな。
Which is why masters seek to kill other masters. Allowing others to live may pose a greater risk later on. Then what if you use up your command spells? That means you can't form another contract with another servant. And the servant who gets freed will pair up with another master?
待って、それは。
Wait, that's...
それはその通りだ。霊樹さえ使い切ってしまえば、マスターの責務からは解放されるな。
You are correct. If you use up all of your command spells, you'll be freed from your duties as master.
もっとも、強力な魔術を行える霊樹を無駄に使うなどという魔術師がいるとは思えないが。
Watch this chuckle face. Although it's hard to believe any mage would waste their command spells. Red. Red. Since each can perform extremely powerful magecraft.
だとしたら、そいつは半人前どころか、ただのふぬけということだろう。
And were there to be such a master, they would be a fool as well as a coward. The priest laughs, as if he can see right through me. This is starting to get to me. This priest's tone is provoking.
納得がいったか。ならばルールの説明はここまでだ。
Do you understand now? Then here endeth the lesson.
さて、それでは初めに戻ろう、エミヤシロ。
Now, let us return to where we began, Ashiro Emiya.
君はマスターになったつもりはないと言ったが、
You mentioned
でも同じなのか。
that you had no intention of becoming a master. Do you still feel that way?
マスターを放棄するというのならそれもよかろう。
If you want to forfeit your position as a master, that is fine too.
君が今考えた通 戦争が終わるまで君の安全は私が保証する。
As you have just pointed out, you can use up your command spells to terminate your contract with Saber. Should you do so, I will guarantee your safety until the Holy Grail War ends. But hold on a minute, why the hell would you need to guarantee my safety? I can protect myself.
私とてお前に構うほど暇ではない。だがこれも決まりでな。
I honestly do not have the time to look after you, but those are the rules.
私は繰り返される聖杯戦争を監督するために派遣された。
I have been assigned to oversee this repeating Holy Grail War.
聖杯戦争による犠牲は最小限にとどめなくてはならないのだ。
Thus, I must ensure the sacrifices made during the Holy Grail War be kept to a minimum.
マスターで亡くなった魔術師を保護するのは監督役として最優先事項なのだよ。
Protecting the safety of mages who are no longer masters is one of my most important responsibilities as the Overseer. Did you say repeating Holy Grail War? Hold on a minute. It repeats? Does that mean a battle like this happened before? Yet, Emiya, please. We're not robbing a bank. We're adventuring a bank. Keep the fuck up. Okay. Okay. What the hell do you mean? Are you saying this isn't the... Yeah, no shit.
無論だ。でなければ監督役などというものが派遣されると思うか。
Of course not. Do you think an overseer would have been dispatched for this the first time?
この教会は生異物を回収する任を帯びる特務局の末端でな。本来は聖十字の調査、回収を旨とするが、ここでは聖杯の査定の任を帯びている。
This church is a special agency responsible for collecting relics. Our organization's original goal is to investigate and recover the true cross. But here, our duty is to assess the Holy Grail.
極東の地に観測された第726聖杯を調査し、これが正しいものであるのなら回収し、そうでなければ否定しろとな。
Our job is to investigate the 726th Holy Grail that was detected in the Far East and recover it, if it is indeed real. And if it is not real, we repudiate it. 726. I never got an actual number of how many times this happened. That's a lot. 726. Not really that many Holy Grails.
さあ、少なくとも正しきものならばそれだけの数があったということだろう。
Who knows? At the very least, it means there are that many objects thought to be Holy Grails.
そしてその中の一つがこの町で観測される聖杯であり、聖杯戦争だ。
And one of those is the Holy Grail observed in this town, which triggered a Holy Grail War.
記録では200年ほど前が一度目の戦いになっている。
According to extant records, the first battle occurred about 200 years ago.
以後、約50年周期でマスターたちの戦いは繰り返されている。
Since then, masters have fought over it every 50 years or so. But then that would be like four grails. But not really.
戦争はこれで5度目。前回が10年前であるから、今までで最短のサイクルということになるが。
Now, these dummies don't add up. Anyway, whatever. This will be the fifth Holy Grail War. The last one happened about 10 years ago. So this is the shortest cycle yet. Are y'all insane? You guys have done this thing 4 times already?
全く同感だ。お前の言う通り、連中はこんなことを何度も繰り返してきたのだよ。
I quite agree. As you pointed out, this has been repeated many times. That's right.
過去繰り返された聖杯戦争はことごとく苛烈を極めてきた。マスターたちは斧が欲望に突き動かされ、魔術師としての教えを忘れ、ただ無差別に殺し合いを行った。
In the past, the repeated Holy Grail wars had been exceedingly fierce. Masters were driven by their own desires as they killed each other indiscriminately, forgetting their disciplines as mages.
君も知っていると思うが、魔術師にとって魔術を一般社会で使用することは第一の罪悪だ。
You may already know this,
物が正体を人々に知られてはならないのだからな。
but the biggest sin to commit as a mage is practicing magecraft within normal society. Mages must never reveal their identities to others.
だが、過去のマスターたちはそれを破った。
But the masters of the past broke that law.
魔術協会は彼らを戒めるために監督役を派遣したが、それが間に合ったのは3度目の聖杯戦争でな。その時に派遣されたのが私の父というわけだが、納得がいったか少年。
The Mages Association finally dispatched an overseer to crack down on masters like them. But that system was only put in place by the time of the Third Holy Grail War. And that first overseer was my father. Does that make sense now, boy? Yeah, I get that an overseer is needed. But based on what you just said, the Holy Grail War is fundamentally a bad thing, right?
ほう、立ちが悪いとはどのあたりだ。
Oh. In what way is it fundamentally bad? The previous masters willingly broke the laws of mages, right? So let's say the Holy Grail is real. What if whoever survives and wins is selfish and uses the Holy Grail for their own selfish purposes? Wouldn't it be pretty bad if the Holy Grail went to someone who has no problem killing people? If the Association's job is to supervise mages, shouldn't you be the one punishing those types of folks? I'm willing to finally confuse them with this question. But as I figured, Kotomina just laughs condescendingly.
まさか、私利私欲で動かぬ魔術師などおるまい。我々が管理するのは聖杯戦争の決まりだ。その後のことなど知らん。
Of course not.
各が聖杯を手に入れようが、教会は関与しない。
All mages are motivated by their self-interests. I am only responsible for managing the rules of the Holy Grail War. I do not care what happens afterwards. The Association does not intervene, no matter what sort of person obtains the Holy Grail. But that's absurd. What happens if the Holy Grail is obtained by a master is absolutely the worst?
困るな。だが、私たちではどうしようもない。持ち主を選ぶのは聖杯だ。そして聖杯に選ばれたマスターを止める力など、私たちにはない。
That would be bad, but it is out of our control. The Holy Grail is the one that chooses its owner, and we do not have the power to stop a master who has been chosen by the Holy Grail.
何しろ望みを叶える暁だ。手に入れたものはやりたい放題だろうさ。
You see, it is a chalice capable of granting any desire. Whoever obtains it will be able to do as they please, I'm sure.
しかし、それが嫌だというのなら、お前が勝ち残ればいい。他人を当てにするよりは、その方が何よりも確実だろう。
So, if that idea troubles you, then your path is clear. Survive and win. Doing this yourself would be the approach most certain to work, as opposed to relying on others, correct? Kotomine is clearly trying to suppress his laughter. It's like he's enjoying watching my awkward resistance to becoming a master.
どうした少年。今のはいいアイデアだと思うのだが、参考にする気はないのかな。
What's wrong, my boy? I thought that was a rather good idea. Care to accept it? That's none of your business. First of all, I have no reason to fight. I'm not interested in the Holy Grail, nor do I feel like a master even if you tell me otherwise.
では聖杯を手に入れた人間が何をするか。それによって
お
最悪が起きたとしても、
Oh.
興味はないのだな。
Oh. So you do not care what the winner of the Holy Grail does with it? Even if it may lead to a great catastrophe? Well, that? I can't argue. Damn. This guy is just so hard to deal with. He doesn't care about my feelings. And he's relentless with the information he pushes on me.
理由がないのならそれも結構。ならば、10年前の出来事にも、お前は
If you have no reason to fight, that is fine too. That must mean you do not care about what happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago?
そうだ。前回の聖杯戦争の最後にな。ふさわしくないマスターが聖杯に触れた。そのマスターが何を望んでいたかは知らん。我々にわかるのは、その時に残された災害の爪痕だけだ。
That's right. Towards the end of the previous Holy Grail War, an unworthy master touched the Holy Grail. I do not know what that master desired, all we know is the disaster that followed. For a second, the image of that hell flashes before my eyes. Wait, don't tell me that.
そうだ。この町に住む者なら誰もが知っている出来事だよ。
That's right. It is the catastrophe everyone in this town knows very well.
死傷者500名。焼け落ちた建物は実に134棟。未だもって原因不明とされるあの火災こそが聖杯戦争による爪痕だ。
500 people were killed or wounded. 134 buildings burned to the ground. That fire, which is still unexplained to this day, was a consequence of the Holy Grail War. I feel sick. My vision blurs. I lose my focus and I can't concentrate. My legs are about to buckle. Before that can happen, I plant my feet. I grit my teeth to maintain my composure. Raw, seething anger is the only thing holding my nausea at bay. Emiya.
どうしたのよ。いきなり顔面真っ白にしちゃって。そりゃあんまり気持ちのいい話じゃなかったけど、ほら、なんなら少し休んだりする？
Emiya, what's wrong? You're white as a sheet. I know that wasn't a pleasant topic to bring up, but come on, why don't you rest up a bit? Must have really looked pale. I know it's rare for someone like Tosaka to be concerned about the likes of me. Don't worry. I feel better after seeing you looking at me so weird.
ちょっと、それどういう意味よ。
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Exactly what I said, so don't worry about it.
ならいいけど、余計に悪いじゃない、このド変僕。
I guess that's okay. Hey! That's even worse, you blockhead. The school's honor student, Rin Tosaka, smacks me upside the head. And just like that, my nausea and anger disappear. Thanks. You really did me a favor, so don't beat me up too much, Tosaka. There's still a few things I have to ask. Something in her expression suggests she thinks she hasn't hit me enough, but she lets me continue anyway.
ほう、まだ質問があるのか。言いたいことは全て言ってしまえ。
Oh. You still have questions? By all means, out with it. I'm sure he knows exactly what I want to ask, but he urges me on anyway. Fine by me. I'm not letting him get the better of me. Let me ask you this. You said that this is the 5th Holy Grail War. So has anyone ever obtained the Holy Grail?
当然だろう。そう毎回全滅などという決めは起き。
Of course. Not every war ends with everyone dead. Then,
早まるな。手に入れるだけならば簡単だ。何しろ聖杯自体はこの教会で管理している。手に取るだけならば私は毎日触れているぞ。
don't jump to conclusions. Obtaining it is the easy part. After all, this church actually manages and is in possession of the Holy Grail. If you're wondering whether someone has touched it, I'll have you know, I touch it every day. Sir, what do you mean by this? The Holy Grail is here in the church?
最もそれは器だけだ。中身が空なのだよ。先ほどリンが言っただろ
Well, it's just a vessel. It's quite empty, as Rin said earlier. The Holy Grail is in spirit form.
この教会に保管してあるのは極めて精巧に作られた聖杯のレプリカだ。これを触媒にして本物の聖杯を降霊させ願いを叶える杯にする。
The
マスターとサーバントの関係に近いか。
the church's safekeep.
そうやって一時的に本物となった聖杯を手にした男は確かにいた。
See, I keep contemplating whether or not I should just turn voices off, but I also know people want to hear the voices. Because I would want to hear the voices even if I did turn them off. Even though I am speaking all of their lines, or repeating it, but I'm not repeating it in Japanese. Anyway. The church is safekeeping a well-made replica of the Holy Grail. We use it as the catalyst to draw the real Holy Grail out and create the wish-granting device it becomes. I suppose it is similar to a master and servant relationship, and yes, there was indeed a man who obtained the Holy Grail which temporarily turned real. So the Holy Grail was real. Okay, what happened to the guy who obtained it?
どうにもならん。その聖杯は完成には至らなかった。
Nothing.
男がつまらぬ干渉に流された結果だよ。
The Holy Grail never reached its complete form, because a foolish man let his sentiments get the better of him. I don't know what happened to his overbearing attitude from a moment before, but the priest suddenly looks, of all things, regretful. What do you mean? Didn't the Holy Grail appear?
聖杯を表すだけならば簡単だ。7人のサーバントが揃い、時間が経てば聖杯は現れる。リンの言う通り、確かに他のマスターを殺める必要などないのだ。
Manifesting the Holy Grail is easy. The 7 servants appear, and then sometime later, the Holy Grail does it as well. As Rin pointed out, there's no real need to kill other masters.
だがそれでは聖杯は完成しない。あれは自らを得るにふさわしい持ち主を選ぶ。故に、戦いを回避した男には聖杯など手に入らなかった。
But that's not enough to complete a Holy Grail. The Grail selects a worthy owner. For that reason, a man who had avoided the battle was unable to obtain the Holy Grail.
要するに他のマスターと決着をつけずに聖杯を手に入れても無意味ってことでしょ。
It just means it's useless to obtain the Holy Grail without settling things with the other masters.
前回一番初めに聖杯を手に入れたマスターはアマちゃんだったのよ。敵のマスターとは戦いたくないなんて言って聖杯から逃げたんだから。
The master who first got their hands on the Holy Grail during the last war was just a wuss. They didn't want to fight other masters and just ran away from the Grail. Kosaka almost spits the words, then goes back to averting her eyes from Kotomine. You're kidding. Does that mean Kotomine was one of the masters from the previous war, and even though he obtained the Holy Grail, he dropped out because he refused to fight? Kotomine, you didn't fight?
途中まで戦いはした。だが判断を間違えた。結果として私は空の聖杯を手にしただけだ。
I did. Halfway. But I made a bad decision. Consequently, I only obtained the empty Holy Grail.
私ではそれが限界だったろう。何しろ他のマスターたちはどいつもこいつも化け物揃いだったからな。私は真っ先にサーバントを失い、そのまま父に保護されたよ。
I suppose that must have been my limit anyway. The rest of the masters were all monstrously strong, terrifying even. I immediately lost my servant, and I was taken under my father's protection.
思えば、監督役の息子がマスターに選ばれるなど、その時点であってはならぬことだったのだ。
In retrospect, the son of the overseer shouldn't have become a master in the first place.
父はその折に亡くなった。以後、私は監督役を引き継ぎ、この教会で聖杯を守っている。
It led to my father's death. After that, I assumed his role as overseer and have been protecting the Holy Grail at this church. Todemiya turns his back to me as he speaks. There is reverence in his voice, and I see the devotion in his eyes before he turns.
話はここまでだ。
We have nothing further to discuss.
聖杯を手にする資格がある者はサーバントを従えたマスターのみ。
Those qualified.
7人が最後の一人となった時、聖杯はおのずと勝者のもとに現れよう。
Those qualified to obtain the Holy Grail are masters who have servants. The moment there is only one of the 7 of you left standing, the Holy Grail shall manifest before you.
その戦い、聖杯戦争に参加するかの意思をここで決めよう。
So, tell me, will you join this Holy Grail war? The priest looks straight down at me, demanding my final decision. I'm at a loss for words. Earlier I had no reason to fight. Now I have a reason and the will to fight. But can I truly say as much?
まだ迷っているのか。
Are you still unsure?
いいか。マスターというものはなろうとしてなれるものではない。そこにいるリンは長く魔術師として修練してきたが、だからといってマスターになるのが決定されていたわけではないのだ。
Listen, you do not become a master just by saying it's what you want. Rin has been training as a mage for many years, but that never meant she was guaranteed to become a master.
決定されていたものがあるとすれば、それは心構えができていたかいないかだけだろう。
The only thing you can decide beforehand is whether to prepare yourself to be a master or not.
マスターに選ばれるのは魔術師だけだ。魔術師ならばとうに覚悟などできていよう。
Only mages can be selected to be masters. If you are a mage, you should have already been prepared.
それがないというのならば仕方があるまい。
However, if you are still lacking resolve, then there is nothing to be done.
お前も、お前を育てた師も出来損ないだ。そんな魔術師に戦われても迷惑だからな。
But that makes both you
ページを消してしまえ。
and your mentor failures. A mage like you would only be a nuisance in battle, so you might as well get rid of your command spells right here, right now. He doesn't need to ask anything else. Wait, I can straight up just decide to destroy the seal? I can quit right now. Just absolutely... And that's it, game over. Anyway, here's our first bad end. This makes me think that there's bad ends. Like, ends where fucking Emiya just straight up dies again. Anyway, I'm gonna chew on the orange slice. I'm gonna shave. A shave right here. Look at the flow chart. Oh, neat. Oh. This is helpful, actually. I wonder if this means I can just fucking flip to it. Trying to think what some of these icons mean. The flowchart is going to help me so much. Fine. I'm not going to run away. To be honest, all this Holy Grail war and Master stuff doesn't feel real to me. But if my only choices are fight or run, I'll never run away. Even the priest told me that I should be prepared if I'm a mage. That's why I need to decide. Shiro Emiya is a mage, even if not yet a full-fledged one. I've always admired Kitsuko Emiya, and I decided to follow in his footsteps, be a champion of justice, so I need to. I will fight as a master. If you're telling me that the cause of the fire 10 years ago was the Holy Grail War, then I can't let something like that happen again. The priest gives me a satisfied smile. As if he likes my answer. I take a deep breath. I'm done wavering. The waver's not in this one. The man has said he's going to fight. The only thing to do from now on is move forward, head held high, so I can live up to that.
それでは君をセーバーのマスターと認めよう。
Then I shall acknowledge you as Saber's master.
この瞬間に今回の聖杯戦争は受理された。
And as of this moment, the Holy Grail War has been accepted.
これよりマスターが残り一人になるまでこの町における魔術戦を許可する。各々が自身の誇りに従い存分に競い合え。
From here on, until only one master remains, Magecraft battles are permitted. Each participant shall put their full efforts into the competition in accordance with their own principles. The priest's voice echoes heavily through the chapel. The declaration is utterly meaningless. Only Tosaka and I are here to hear it anyway. He just rang a metaphorical bell to kick things off as a formality, I guess.
決まりね。それじゃあ帰るけど、私も一つぐらい質問していい？キレ。
Then that's that. But before I go home, care to answer a question, Kirei?
構わんよ。これが最後かもしれんのだ。
I don't mind.
疑問には答えよ。
This may be the final one, so I shall try to answer as much as I can.
それじゃあ遠慮なく。キレ、あんた見届け役なんだから、他のマスターの情報ぐらいは知ってるんでしょ？こっちは教会のルールに従ってあげたんだから、それぐらい教えなさい。
Then, no holds barred. Since you're the overseer, you probably have information on all the other masters. I'm following the association's rules, so you should be able to disclose that to me.
それは困ったな。教えてやりたいのは山々だが、私も詳しくは知らんのだ。
Well, I'm not sure what to do. I really do want to tell you, but I actually do not know the details.
エミやシローも含め、今回は正規の魔術師が少ない。私が知り得るマスターは2人だけだ。
And what I do know
シローを加えれば3人か。
is that there aren't many illegitimate mages this time around. As is the case with Shiro Emiya. I only know 2 masters, or rather, with the inclusion of Shiro Emiya, I know 3.
あ、そう。なら呼び出された順番ならわかるでしょ？
That's so. But to at least know the order the servants were summoned in,
二人にも監視役なんだ。
you are the overseer.
1番手はバーサーカー。2番手はキャスターだな。あとはそう大差はない。先日にアーチャー、そして数時間前にセイバーが呼び出された。
Well, the first was Berserker. The second was Caster. There's not much difference after that. Archer was summoned a few days back, while Saber was summoned a few hours ago.
そう。それじゃあこれで。
Let's see. Then that means...
正式に聖杯戦争が開始されたということだ。
It means the Holy Grail War has officially started.
聖杯戦争が終わるまで、この教会に足を運ぶことは許されない。許されるとしたら、それは。
Until the Holy Grail War concludes, you are not permitted to set foot in this church. The only time you'll be allowed would be...
自分のサーバントを失って保護を願う場合のみでしょ？
if I lost my servant
頼ったら減点ってことね。
and asked for sanctuary, right? Otherwise, we'll get penalized if we seek for your help.
そうだ。おそらく君が勝者になるだろうが、減点がついては教会が黙っていない。連中はつまらない論議の末、君から聖杯を奪い取るだろう。私としては最悪の展開だ。
Correct. You are likely to win, but the church will not simply ignore any marks against you. They will not hesitate to take the Holy Grail from you for whatever asinine reason. And that would be the worst possible outcome for me.
エセ神父。教会の人間が魔術協会の肩を持つのね。
You're such a freaking fraud of a priest. A man from the church, siding with the Mages Association.
私
I simply serve God. I do not serve the church.
よく言うわ。だからエセなのよ、あんたは。
Actually, in any other context besides fucking Kirei, that is a hard line to say, and is probably one of the more accurate lines to say of any Christian, because you should not serve the church. Serving the church is fucking retarded. And listen to you. This is why you're a fraud. Guilty as charged. Tosaka turns her back on the priest. Without saying goodbye, she makes her way toward the exit. Hey, is that okay to do, Tosaka? Isn't he your senior? Shouldn't she have a little more to say than that?
いいわよ、そんなの。むしろ縁が切れてせいせいするぐらいだもの。そんなことより、あなたも外に出なさい。もうこの教会に用はないから。
It's fine. I'm actually relieved that I can sever ties with him once and for all. You should get out of here too. You don't want to have any more business here. I mean, you don't have any more business here. Tosaka cuts through the chapel without stopping and leaves the church. I sigh and follow Tosaka. But then, yeah, I sense something and turn around. I don't know when he caught up, but the priest is right behind me, looking down at me. What? He has something else to say to me? I'm talking big, but I take a step back. The priest scares the hell out of me. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just rubs me the wrong way. Yes, that's a very good way of putting it. Whatever it is, I can't make myself like him. I'm going home if you've got nothing. Into the exit, trying to escape his stare, but at that moment...
喜べ少年。君の願いはようやく叶う。
Rejoice, my boy. Your wish will finally come true. The priest speaks like he's some kind of divine oracle. Aren't they a reflection of my true feelings? Ashiro Emiya's true intentions that I wasn't even aware of? And what are you saying?
分かっていたはずだ。明確な悪がいなければ君の望みは叶わない。たとえそれが君にとって容認し得ぬものであろうと、正義の味方には倒すべき悪が必要だ。
I am sure you know already. Without an evil to fight, your wish will never be granted. Even if you don't want to admit it, a hero of justice requires a villain to defeat. Everything around me seems to go dark. The priest says, Shiro Emiya's greatest wish and his ugliest wish are two sides of the same coin. That's right, my wish to protect something. This means that I'm also wishing for something to protect people from. Oh, you. I never wished for something like that. I don't even remember ever desiring that. I wish so unstable. Just means that what I'm aspiring to is contradictory. The priest brings it up. As if to say, a good thing you have an enemy now.
何取り繕うことはない。
に
君の葛藤は人間としてとても正しい。
You needn't sugarcoat it. Your conflict is only natural for a human being. I try to shake off the priest's words and head outside.
さらばだ、エミヤシロ。
Farewell, Shiro Emiya.
最後の忠告になるが、帰り道には気をつけたまえ。
This will be my final warning. Be careful on your way home.
これより君の世界は一変する。
The world as you know it is about to change.
君は殺し、殺される側の人間になった。その身はすでにマスターなのだからな。
You will kill or be killed. For you are a master now. As soon as I leave, the weight on my shoulders seems to lift. Ah, Seipa! Might be because I'm away from the priest. But it might also be because I see Tosaka conspicuous in her uniform. And the blonde girl in the raincoat. The slightly mismatched sight of these two standing together relieves whatever pressure I felt. Yeah, we got red and blue. Saber is still silent. She looks at me and seems to want to know what I decided.
行きましょう。町に戻るまでは一緒でしょ、私たち。
Let's go. We're going in the same direction until we reach town. Tosaka starts walking, her pace brisk. Saber and I follow suit, and the three of us leave the church grounds. We walk down the hill. We hadn't talked much on the way here, but there's even less conversation on the way back. Even someone as dull as me knows why. After our visit to the church, I accepted my position as a master. That must be why Tosaka is keeping her distance. I get it. I don't like the idea of seeing Tosaka in that light. Tosaka, how's your servant? Eh?
ああちゃんなら無事よ。まあ、セイバーにやられたダメージは簡単に消えそうにないから、しばらく実体化はさせられないだろうけど。
Oh, if you're wondering, Archer's fine. The injury he sustained from Saber won't be easy to heal, so he won't materialize for a while, though. Does that mean he isn't by your side?
ええ、私の家でかくまってる状態。今他のサーバントに襲われたら不利だから、傷が治るまでは有利な場所で敵に備えさせてるの。
Nope, he's cooped up in my house. He'd be at a disadvantage if he was ambushed by other servants, so I'm having him prepare to fight by recuperating somewhere else. I see. Unlike my house, I'm sure Tosaka's house is well fortified against enemies. Mage's home is like a fortress. There's not much chance of defeating them there. Which means enemies tend not to try attacking them at home. Battlefield around our house just notifies us of intruders. But even having that makes a big difference. By the way, Tosaka, the priest mentioned he was the overseer of the Holy Grail War. Does that mean he knows who your servant is?
知らないはずよ。私教えてないもの。
He shouldn't know. I've never told him. I see. You guys seem to get along, so I thought you had.
あのね、ミヤ君。忠告しておくけど、自分のサーバントの正体は誰にも教えちゃダメよ。たとえ信用できる相手でも黙っておきなさい。そうでないと、早々に消えることになるから。
Emiya, I'm going to give you a little advice. Never tell anybody your servant's identity. No matter how much you trust the other person, you should keep quiet. Otherwise, you'll end up dropping out early. Huh? What do you mean, Saber's identity?
だから、サーバントがどこの英雄かっていうことよ。
I'm talking about which hero your servant is.
いくら強いからって、戦力を明かしてちゃ、いつか寝首をかかれるに決まってるでしょ。
No matter
後でセーバーから新名を教えてもらいなさい。
No matter how strong they are, revealing their strength to others will just lead to a knife in the back. Just ask Saber her true name later.
そうすれば私の言ってることがわかる。けど、ちょっとタンマ。エミヤ君はあれだから、いっそ教えてもらわない方がいいわね。
You'll understand when you learn about her. Actually, it might be better if she doesn't tell you because you're, you know. Why not?
エミヤ君隠し事できないもの。なら、知らない方が秘密にできるじゃない？
You can't keep secrets. You might have the best chance at keeping the secret if you just don't know. Who do you think I am? I could at least follow a strategy like that.
そう？じゃあ、私に隠していることとかある？
Are you sure? Does that mean there's something you're hiding from me? Something I'm hiding from you? Well... I feel a hot blush in my cheeks as she looks at me. I shouldn't feel guilty, but I wonder if secretly idolizing her even counts in this context.
ほら見なさい。何を隠しているか知らないけど、動揺が顔に出るようじゃ向いてないわ。
See? I don't know what it is, but your face tells me you're hiding something, and that's why you're not fit for this.
あなたは他にいいところがあるんだから、駆け引きなんて考えるのはやめなさい。
There's plenty of other good things about you, so stop thinking of silly tactics like these. Hey, did you just compliment me? Uh-huh. Then what about you? If you're mum about your servant even to that priest, does that mean you don't trust him?
綺麗？まさか。私、あいつを信用するほどおめでたくないわ。あいつはね、教会から魔術協会にくら替えしたくせに、まだ教会に在籍している食わせ者なのよ。
Kirei.
この情報を他のマスターに売るぐらいはやりかねないわ。
Of course not. I'm not naive enough to trust him. He's a big hypocrite who switched sides from the church to the Mages Association, yet he still has a seat at the church. He'd spill it to the other masters the second he felt like it. I mean, honestly, I feel like the same about Kirei. I have actually got a pretty solid pace. I will end it here, although I feel like we're about to hit like the end card of like day end, new day, blah blah blah. But I am really tired. I somehow powered through being awake even though I took my sleep meds. Just to have it calm down my anxiety. And now I'm actually just gonna go to sleep. I do have work in the morning. How's that? I get ready for bed. I did what I could. I did what I could. Just dun 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 dun. Well, good time as any. Bye bye. I'll see you tomorrow.